The next type of data that's available in consumer panel data is brand interaction data. This data gives an indication as to cross-retailer or channel, brand, segment, and category purchases. This data can help you to truly understand your competition for both retailers and vendors across brands, segments, and categories. To get the most out of the analysis, the key business issues need to be addressed. Interaction data is usually customizable by the purchaser of the data, and thought needs to go into the specifics behind the data purchase. There's flexibility in terms of the product lists included in the interaction data. For example, if the project includes an assessment of control brands, rather than just having a total control brand number, there may be an opportunity to break out different control brands by retailer to get a much deeper insight into the interactivity between brands. Geographies can be broken out at a total market level, or channel, retailer, and/or regional break. Once again, by understanding the business issues and the reason for the data purchase, the appropriate geography should follow. There may be reasons to change time periods or understand data variable options as well. In net, when purchasing interaction data, ensure that a plan for the use of the data is done before purchasing the data so a correct and appropriate purchase is made. Realizing this after the data has been purchased can result in wasted dollars and disappointment in the outcomes. Here's an example of a cross-brand interaction analysis within the paper towel category. This could be for a total market, a specific channel, a retailer, a banner, or a regional geography. I have my segments down the left-hand side, and I have the same segments across the top. These are not the only product groupings that I would necessarily look at in my analysis, but for ease of explanation, we'll only look at some of the segmentation available. In this example, this interaction is related to the percent of buyers, but it could also be percent of dollars instead. Now let's look at the numbers in this grid. The easiest way to read this is to start at the top and say of the 100% of consumers that bought YYY, and by YYY I mean one of the product groupings in the top in the orange, X%, or the number that matches up in the grid, also purchased ZZZ, which is the product groupings in green down the left side of the grid. For example, of the 100% of buyers that bought total paper towels, 45.7% of them purchased the premium tier. 48.6% of them purchased the mid-tier. And 75% of them purchased the price or value tier over the time period. You can see that the numbers do not add up because a buyer only had to purchase a product group once to be a buyer, so they've purchased across multiple segments. But the highest percentage of buyers that purchase paper towels purchase value tier paper towels. It's important to note that premium, mid, and value tiers refer to the value or cost of the different brands within the category. Premium is the most expensive brands, mid is the mid-priced brands, and value is the lower-cost brands. Now let's look at a segment example. In the premium tier, 100% of premium consumers bought the premium segment, which makes obvious sense, but is a good check to ensure a correct reading of the grid. 40.9% of premium consumers also purchased in the mid-tier segment. And 62.4% of premium consumers also purchased in the price or value segment. I can compare this to the mid-tier segment to see that 74.3% of mid-tier consumers also purchase value brand, indicating that consumers will switch more between mid and price tiers than between premium and price tiers. But I can also see that more consumers switch from premium to price than from premium to mid-tier. This may indicate that at a certain price gap, consumers will trade down to the value segment to purchase their paper towels. I can also see that most premium consumers purchase jumbo roll and small count pack product. If I'm a vendor of a premium brand, I would want to drill down to a brand level to understand what brands my brand specifically also interacts with. I may also want to understand what value label brands interact the most with control brands. If this was a retailer level analysis, I would also want to understand how specific value brands interact with a retailer's own control label brands. As I mentioned before, this analysis is also available based on percentage of dollars. The next step would be to look at the percentage of buyers compared to the percentage of dollars results. Another measure available in interaction data is share of requirements. Once again, the share of requirements speaks to loyalty and is defined as the percent of a brand's buyers' total category needs that are satisfied by that brand. In my premium example, 54.8% of premium consumers' category dollars are being spent in the premium tier. 16% of their dollars are being spent in the mid-tier, and 29.2% are being spent in the value tier. If you recall from my previous example, using percentage of buyers, a significantly higher percentage of premium buyers were purchasing value tier versus mid-tier. And as we can see from the share of requirements example, this is translating into higher leakage of dollars into the value segment. I can also compare the dollar share of requirements across the premium, mid, and value tier. The value tier shows the most loyalty across these competing segments, with 57.8% of category dollars being spent in the value tier across value buyers. In net, cross-brand interaction data and share of requirements gives powerful insights into what else brand consumers are purchasing and where this translates into dollars and loyalty. This type of data purchase can be done ad hoc or on a regular basis with regular quarterly updates. We will now move into the cross-brand interaction data workshop. Please find this workshop in the Resource Materials section for this course. In this workshop, you will review some cross-brand interaction data for the paper towel category and answer some questions associated with the data. Here's an example of the workshop. There's some interaction data available for the paper towel category, including percentage of buyers in the first section and share of requirements in the second section. There's also an explanation of how to read the table and examples for each of the sections below the tables. Your objective is to review the interaction data and answer the questions below. You should now have completed the workshop on cross-brand interaction data. Here are the answers to the questions. As you should have learned from this exercise, interaction data can be very powerful data. Once again, when the data is purchased, you strategically determine how to pull the data in order to glean the most insights based on different perspectives. This data is available at a market, channel, retailer, and banner level, and can be broken into many different segments that are available in the third-party hierarchies. It's important to spend the time to plan the data purchase before you invest in it, so that you get the breakthrough insights that you're looking for. The next type of data that is available in consumer panel data is retailer interaction data. This data captures retailer leakage in terms of percent of buyers, percent of dollars, and share of requirements, in the same way that the cross-brand interaction analysis works. The retail interaction data works exactly the same way as the brand interaction data, but across markets, channels, and retailers. We won't spend time going through and explaining the logic used to analyze the retailer interaction data because it's identical to that of the brand interaction data, only across retailers and markets. This data can be purchased by retailers and vendors to better understand their key players in a market at a corporate, category, or product group level. Cross-channel interaction can also highlight opportunities for expanded category offerings for a retailer. It's now time for a knowledge check to ensure that you've understood key points that we've covered in this chapter. Just click your answers right on the screen before moving forward. Good luck!